just 9 days and change away from the opening ceremony at the Tokyo Olympics. And before we can get to majestic Japan, USA basketball has a lot of work to do in Las Vegas. Losses inside Mandalay Bay at Michelob Ultra Arena to Nigeria and Australia. Not how USA envisioned things starting off, but they have another chance to get back on the right track with a game against Argentina this afternoon. NBC Sports proudly presents another production of USA Basketball. And we welcome you inside Michelob Ultra Arena, folks. USA taking on Argentina for tune-up number 3 for both teams here in Vegas. Hi, folks. Welcome courtside Kevin Dano alongside USA 3x3 national team head coach and 2008 Olympic gold medalist Kara Lawson. And Kara, is it time for a sense of urgency to creep in for USA after a couple of losses?
Absolutely. I think it is. I mean, this is a team that is still in its early stages of growing, but there absolutely needs to be a sense of urgency. The outcomes have not been what they wanted them to be the last 2 games. The mission remains the same, though. The mission is to be good enough to win a gold medal in a couple weeks, and that's what this team needs to focus on. They're going to face a tough Argentinian side. I think they'll challenge them in many ways, but to me, hope is not lost for the U.S. men's national team. They just have to focus on continuing to grow, and for me, I think it's on the defensive end.
Well, it was a loss, 91-83 to Australia last night. After the game, this is what head coach Greg Popovich and Damian Lillard had to say about the defeat.
The first half and the second half were 2 different beasts. In the first half, we defended the way we wanted to defend, the way we did not defend against Nigeria. We were more physical. We sustained the defense longer. We rebounded better. We moved the ball better at the offensive end and had more pace. In the second half, we tired out.
It's also not the first time that I've seen Team USA be tested. You know, maybe not beat 2 times in a row, but I've seen it before. And like you said, these other teams and these other countries just continue to improve. These players, they get better, they get more confident, and they also, you know, they want to beat us badly. So it's definitely noticeable when you're on the floor.
Well, if USA basketball wants to make it 1-2 in Las Vegas, they'll need another good game out of Damian Lillard, who, Kara, was much better in Game 2 than he was in Game 1.
Well, he's talked about how this is his first time playing the international game, and so how he's going to continue to get more and more comfortable. I felt like he looked it in Game 2. He looked more comfortable. All these guys have to learn where can they pick their spots to be aggressive. I thought Dame, he's a terrific shooter. Some of that was as he made shots that he missed in Game 2. But when you look at his ability, I think it continues to be an important part on the offensive end. Kevin Durant's another player that upped his level on the offensive end against Australia. He's going to be the best player. He is the best player on the US's team. He's going to have to carry the load offensively.
Well, it doesn't get any easier for USA basketball. Up next is Argentina, a side that is ranked 4th in the world according to FIBA. And Kara, they are led by the 10-year NBA veteran Luis Scola, the ageless wonder at 41 years young.
Yeah, it's so fun to watch Luis Scola, part of that golden generation in Argentina, and all of the experience that he's amassed, the competitiveness and what he's able to do. He does it a little bit slower these days, but he still has all of the smarts, all of the skill, ability to step outside and make the 3-point shot, and the competitiveness. This is a proud basketball nation, Argentina, so you can expect them to come out with a great game plan and a great deal of confidence going against the USA.
They're led by Sergio Hernandez, the head coach who has more than a dozen years of experience in the Argentinian League. As we take a look at his starting lineup, brought to you by Nike. 4 guys with NBA experience, with the exception of Marcos D'Elia in that starting 5. Meanwhile, for Team USA, it'll look like this. Levine, Durant, Adebayo back in the starting lineup alongside Beal and Lillard. And important note here, Kara, no Jason Tatum today.
Welcome back into pre-Olympic basketball. I'm Zora Stevenson. The USA is up 33-19. I'm joined now by assistant coach Lloyd Pierce. Coach, you all started with a 15-4 run. What role did ball movement play in those opening minutes?
It was, you know, the guys did a great job. I thought more than anything, our pace after misses, you know, getting the ball off the rim, kicking it ahead, being able to play with some pace. Once we do that, their defense isn't set. We can get downhill, get into the paint, and that extra pass mentality has been great. Obviously, the ball's going in tonight, so everyone's feeling a little bit better.
Appreciate the time, Coach. Thank you.
You got it.
Thank you, Zora. Thank you, Coach Pierce. And Kara, you Gotta like this stat that Zora asked Coach Pierce about. 12 assists on 13 made shots.
Yep, yeah, and that was similar to what they had in the first half yesterday. And so, for this team, they have had stretches where they've looked really good, and they've been too few and far between over the course of the 40-minute game. And so the challenge for the USA is not necessarily, you can't expect to shoot 6 for 9 from threes every quarter, but can they keep up with that pace? Can they keep up with that defensive attention to detail? That's what I'm looking for in the next 3 quarters.
A bucket and a stop for Argentina to start the second frame. Luca Vildoza looking to post up Deck. Knocked away, he's doubled by Garland and Beal, knocked out of play, staying with Argentina. 2004 gold medalists in the gold, beating Italy in 2004 after knocking off USA, and then finishing with the bronze medal in 2008. Part of that golden generation that Kara touched on at the Open. Manu Ginobili, Luis Scola, Fabrizio Oberto and company, Andres Nocioni. There's a foul. That's going on Tasha Beccalisi. That's his second. Battling with Love, and there could be a big role for Kevin Love in the Olympics when you think about defensively. You don't need to leave the paint. No defensive 3 seconds. He's a great rebounder. He can bring a lot to USA in Tokyo.
Oh, he also gives you the element of the 3-point shot.
Yep.
And he's become a really good shooter from beyond the arc.
Great outlet passer as well. Beal almost lost it. Keldon Johnson, not sure he was expecting it. Well, missed it. Got a shot out of it, and then a travel on Juan Pablo Ballet. So we're staying with Team USA here.
A little more pressure, a little more physicality from Argentina out of that quarter break. And how does the U.S. handle it?
Johnson will throw it in here. Beal spinning, lost it, but got fouled. So Bradley Beal will go to the line for 2.
Fouls on Argentina's number 17, Luca Vildoza. This is his second team foul. Bradley
doing an excellent job of just attacking the pressure. Isolate him on that side with Kevin Love, and he just goes one-on-one.
Finished second in the league in scoring this past year, and Kara more efficient in his second game than he was in his first.
Well, he's a brilliant scorer, and I mean, you obviously I sat courtside for a couple of years watching him in Washington. He finds a way, whether he's feeling good or not feeling good, or whether he's getting double teamed or trapped, he finds a way to get to the rim and lead his team from the scoring standpoint. And that's going to be a pivotal part of him making shots, him making 3-point shots, and then certainly the defensive end. I mean, all these guards for the USA are going to have to play at a high level defensively for this team to win the gold.
A 2-touchdown lead for USA as Luca Vildoza puts it up. Gabriel Deck showing off his strength inside. Works his way to the line off the offensive rebound.
Fouls on USA Basketball's number 11, Kevin Love. First personal, first team foul.
Gabriel Deck coming over late in the season from Real Madrid, finishing the last 10 games of the regular season with Oklahoma City. Free throws for Deck. 10 games with the Thunder, 82% from the charity stripe. Argentinian League MVP, Finals MVP there. Awesome, broke down.
Returning for USA Basketball, number 5, Zach
Levine back in.
Also checking in, number 9, Jeremy Grant.
I see Jeremy Grant in for the first time. He started yesterday's game against Australia, and an unceremonious start for him to this one, throwing it away.
Well, he talks about the pressure. That Argentina decides to bring that pressure full court and forces a turnover on the inbounds. They brought 2 players to deny Bradley Beal the basketball.
Good ball movement for USA, but Kara, that's already the 7th turnover. What does USA need to do to better handle that pressure as Deck misses the turnaround jumper?
You know, turnovers, I mean, some of them are unforced, and you know, you just got to understand that Argentina is going to be in the passing lanes. You know, they've got some guys with great length in terms of the backdoor cut that Lillard had there in the first quarter. That was a turnover as well, and just be smarter with it. Keep their spacing, that helps you.
Well, good spacing there as Durant gets fouled on a 3 off a feed from Beal. Juan Pablo Baulet has his hands on his hips after that foul.
Third team foul.
You know, teams that pressure you, that's where the spacing becomes really important, because it's harder to pressure everyone spaced out on the court, and the windows are a little bit wider when you make back cuts or when you have drives that you get 2 feet in the paint. It's easier to see everything with that spacing. This is an active defensive team, Argentina. They're going to look to get deflections and look to get their hands on the basketball.
And their guards really love to pressure the basketball, as you mentioned earlier. Kevin Durant missed the first, hit the second. He's got one more. Just fantastic in the playoffs with the Brooklyn Nets this year. A foot on the line away from sending them to the Eastern Conference Finals. Deck posting up Levine. Turning over left shoulder, fading away and finishing. Jeremy Grant, a little strong. Argentina in transition. Good look inside. Khaleesi sent packing by Jeremy Grant from behind.
He gets beat, but does a great job of getting himself back into the play. On his ability defensively. Versatility, obviously the athleticism. Full display on that block.
Averaged a career-high 22 per game with the Detroit Pistons this year, but like you mentioned, Kara, really going to be called on for his defense with USA in Tokyo. Been a second in most improved player voting this past year. Signing a nice 3-year deal with the Pistons. They go back to Deck. It's been a lot of the offense thus far. Him posting up on that left block, and you can see why. Spinning off Levine and smooching it home.
You know, it's been effective. They've attacked the switch in that manner. The U.S. switching 1 through 5, and a lot of times the guard is ending up on Deck, and he has made USA pay.
Keldon Johnson's second attempt on the tip. USA kind of holding serve here in the second. They're up 14 after 1, leading by 12. Luis Scola has a great back-to-the-basket game. La Provitola, a deep 3, and he spins it in. 39-30, USA's lead down to single digits in Las Vegas.